There's a severely underrated English rock band from the 70s that I want to talk to you about today. And we're going to see how the biggest hit that they ever put out could actually be a masterclass in guitar learning. I'm talking about the rock band Mott the Hoople, and specifically their glam rock anthem, All the Young Dudes. And if you never sat down with this song and learned it on guitar, you may be missing out on one of the most emotionally rich, musically mature, guitar-smart songs of the 70s. And there were a lot of those during that decade. All the Young Dudes was more than just a glam rock anthem. And today I'm going to give you 4 reasons why it is a masterclass for guitar players. You know, I was in the middle of working on this video when I had gotten the news that Mick Ralphs, the guitar player for Mott the Hoople and Bad Company, had unfortunately passed away. So I'm hoping with having this video out there, it's going to raise awareness for one of the most unsung heroes in rock guitar. Rest in peace, Mick Ralphs. Reason number 1 why I think every guitar player should listen to this song and learn it on guitar is that it shows you how to seamlessly blend arpeggios and melody. And I'm talking, of course, about the signature lick to this song, the thing that kicks it all off, the one that goes like this. What an absolutely gorgeous signature lick. So what it does is it outlines with an arpeggio the one chord, the first chord of the song, which is D. So the song is in the key of D major, and it outlines a D major arpeggio starting on the 14th fret of the high E string, and then on the 15th fret of the B string, and then 14 on the G string. So just like right there on the nose arpeggio. And then what happens is he hits that first note again, the 14th fret of the high E string, and then goes into a really nice bend and release thing. And now I've seen this played in a bunch of different ways. You know, in the actual music video by Mott the Hoople, Mick appears to be playing it. He like walks this whole lick down the fretboard. But I've seen in live videos, like when David Bowie performs it, by the way, he wrote that song. And that happened to be the song that really, you know, helped things take off for the band. But I've even seen Brian May perform it. He does it right here in this region of the fretboard. And honestly, for the sake of ease, keeping it in this area makes it a little bit easier to play. So we're going to focus on that, all right? So he does this bend here on the 17th fret of the B string. It's a whole step bend, right? We're bending it in the pitch of a whole step. And then we release it. But he does it twice. It gives it that beautiful vocal kind of whiny sound. So we have... All right, so there's that really nice melody there. Then we're going to play the 14th fret of the B string. That's going to lead us right into the next arpeggio, which is a B minor arpeggio, which, by the way, matches up perfectly with when the B minor appears in the chord progression. So it's like... So it's outlining the chords, you know, so in a way, it's like playing over chord changes because it's just nailing those chord tones that are contained within the actual chord that's being played over, right? So it's 15th fret on the B string, and then on the 16th fret, we're gonna bar the G string and the D string and play them in that order, right? Now what might help, just so you're not blending the notes too much, you know, you don't want, if you don't want to do that, what you can do is you're still gonna do that bar motion, but you're gonna kind of like roll your finger over so that you're concentrating on the individual string that you want to hit. Which may feel a little awkward at first, but it's okay. This is something that you do want to get used to and you do want to practice so that your hand has the ability to do it, because there's going to come times where you're going to run into guitar parts or even learning arpeggios, you know, like the full B minor arpeggio. Right? It's got that little rolly part. So you're going to run into that stuff sooner or later. So it's good to practice that. So we have... And then once we're here, we're going to hit the 15th fret on the B string again, and then we're going to do the same thing we did here, but over here on the 14th fret of the B string with a half step bend and release. Because we're bending up to the pitch of this fret right here. We're almost done. So here's what we got so far. And then from here, we're gonna play 16, 14 on the G string. And then this is where it gets a little fun, okay? Now, I noticed when I watched the music video, Mott the Hoople's music video of this song, what Mick Ralphs was doing was he was sliding and just doing this chromatic walk down. He actually did it over here. Right, but same exact notes. We're just now here on the G string and trying to stay within this neighborhood that we've been in, right? So he slides it up from the 14th fret, or sorry, the 16th fret to the 18th fret. And then what he's gonna do is he's gonna walk it down one fret at a time, all the way down to the 14th fret to give this kind of carnival sort of sound. But get this, whenever I've seen this performed live, whether by David Bowie and his band, or when I saw Brian May play, he actually bent it, which is also pretty cool, right? But what's happening here is whole step bend, but as you're releasing that bend, you do it in little increments so you hit those chromatic notes. And then once you reach the pitch of the 16th fret on the G string, then you play 15, 14. All right, so try it both ways. The bending thing is actually a great exercise in practicing your intonation. But you really want to make it have that sort of carnival-esque chromatic sound. But you can also play it by just sliding up and just kind of walking it down one fret at a time, right? And then it happens again. But this time we're just doing full major scale, right? So it's either a bend from the 16th fret to the pitch of the 18th fret, or you slide up to it. So all together it's... And then from there, the very last move we do is a bend. Now, on the recording, you can tell there's layered guitars. It's very Brian May-esque to have that very, beautiful, like multi-guitar, almost guitar orchestra kind of sound, right? But every time I've seen this done live, this seems to be the note that is bent. So it's the this note right here, which is the root note, D. This is a D note. So 15th fret on the B string, you bend it a whole step, and then slowly release it down. Because when it comes right back down, it lands on the root note. Which is such a beautiful sound, So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this lick for you over a loop of the chord progression, and we're gonna get a feel for how it sounds all together. Here we go. And... And then that chord progression persists through the verse. Now, before we dive further into the song, I want to talk about the second reason why I think every guitar player should learn All the Young Dudes by Mott the Hoople. And that is that it demonstrates the power of playing in slow tempos. Now, in the 70s, bands in the studio weren't recording to a click track, so the tempo tends to be a little all over the place. But I've pretty much clocked it at about 77 beats per minute, which is actually a great tempo for guitar players to practice improvising in, because that sort of power ballad, glam rock anthem kind of groove encourages like really long running, sustaining notes, very melodic playing, So let's take a look at this. If I were to kind of approximate, just kind of pick a scale that really nails the vibe of this song, it would be the D major scale, right? But we're actually gonna learn it like this. So it's right within the neighborhood of the signature lick, right? So starting on the 14th fret, we're gonna do 14, 16 on the G string, then 14, 15, 17 on the B and high E strings. So the same exact finger pattern on the B and high E strings. And that's actually a D major scale. You have your root right here. All right. So even though it's not like starting on the root note and ending on the root note, it gives you all of the 7 diatonic notes in D major. And this particular shape is really, really fun to solo on. I mean, you see Brian May do it a lot, you know, just playing this already just screams Brian May, you know? So let's take a look at how we can actually use that to improvise some pretty nice sounding melodies at a tempo like 77 beats per minute. So I got my metronome here, 77 beats per minute, and let's just mess around in the D major scale. All right, so that tempo kept me in that anthemic kind of groove, right? And playing in the major scale was just focusing on just, like I said, long sustaining notes, very, very powerful, very vocal, you know, not trying to shred it, you know, just really focusing on just long lasting notes. It's not very often we find ourselves in situations where we practice that particular style. You know, it's like when we look up backing tracks online, oftentimes it's like blues backing tracks or classic rock, that kind of thing. But like glam rock anthem, you know, I feel like that gets a lot less attention for most guitar players online just looking for something to jam to. I could be wrong about that, but just based on my experience, you know, it's not very often we find ourselves at that tempo, which is great. You know, it's a great invitation for learning a song like this to really help us discover what we're actually capable of coming up with when we're put in that situation. Oh, and by the way, if you're getting value out of this video, do me a favor, hit that like button and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We got a whole bunch more lessons coming your way, and I would love for you to be in the front row when they come out. So thanks in advance, and let's get right back to it. Now, for reason number 3, why I think every guitar player should study this song is that it shows you how you can use a lot of chords to make a great song. Now, more doesn't always equal better when it comes to music. You know, sometimes a simple 2 to 3 chord song can really get the job done. But this is one of those songs that has a very moving, very involved chord progression that still doesn't make the song complex. It just like tells a story. And it really shows you how you can maximize the amount of chords available to you in a certain key to really get the most out of your song. So like I said, the song is in the key of D. You know, so we have D is the 1 chord, right? Now in the main chord progression, we have basically that D over C sharp, and then B minor, A, and then F sharp minor, back to A, or if you want to play it up here. Yeah, that's a lot of chords. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've already exceeded, you know, what we typically call, you know, the 3 chords in the truth kind of song. This is very much going beyond that, and it continues to go beyond that because there's a bit of a bridge before getting to the chorus where we actually hit an E minor. Television man is crazy, right? Saying we're jumping on the lake with Rex, right? And it just keeps on going. It's really cool. So we have that E minor chord, then we actually have an F sharp 7, not an F sharp minor like we've already seen. F sharp 7, and then back to B minor, walking down to A, and then G, and then we have the 1 chord D, and then the 5 chord before it kicks into the chorus. And in the chorus, right, all the young dudes carry the news, all the dudes carry the news. I mean, it really goes all kinds of places, right? So let's unpack all that. So we've already talked about the verse progression, right? But as we get into that pre-chorus, we have a 2 minor in the key of D major, which is E minor. And we have a 3 dominant, or you can even do 3 major, but I think making it a 7 chord really adds to the tension that you hear from that change in the chord. and then walking down from 6 minor, 5, and then 4. This is the first time we encounter the 4 chord in this song. Then we have the 1 chord again, and then the 5 chord as it builds up. There's a lot going on there, but man, it sounds great. And it's not complex really. Like, it's a lot to keep in mind, but it's just this moving, grooving, glam rock, anthem, right? So it needs all this movement to really get the point across, I think. So I like to use the Nashville number system to analyze and utilize song structure, right? So in this case, it's in the key of D major. So if we looked at the chords in the D major scale, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, right? Those 7 notes of the D major scale, we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, and this one kind of works backwards, right? Because remember, it starts on the 1 and then walks down. So we have the 1, right? But we'll start on the octave because we're walking down, then 7, 6, 5, and then it goes straight to the 3, and it makes it a minor. So F sharp minor, back to 5, A major, and then when it's going into the pre-chorus, right? E minor, which is, that's the 2, so it's a 2 minor, and then it does this 3 dominant thing, which, 3, the 3rd note in the scale is F sharp, it's F sharp 7, and then, so it's happening here, 6, 5, 4, right? B minor, A, G, and then back to 1, right? And then the 5. So with all of the root notes of those chords contained in the D major, right? We're able to analyze, that all of these chords are part of the D major scale. The only change is making that instead of a minor chord, because in the major scale, the 3 chord is typically minor, but here it kind of breaks the rules a little bit. And it sounds just more impactful because of that, which actually segues us perfectly into the 4th and final reason why I think every guitar player should learn this song. It shows that you can break the rules in music and still make a great song. And in this song, the rules are broken beautifully, and they're broken multiple times, particularly in the chorus. So let's break that down. It starts off, right? 1/7, 6 minor, 5, just like the verse, right? And then right here is where the rule breaking really starts. It goes, carry the news, boogaloo dance, carry the news. And then it starts over. That's just one thing I absolutely love about that decade in music, is that people just took chances. Songs had chords, it's awesome. So let's take a look at what happens here. We have our 1, right? 1/7, B minor, 6 minor, right? 5, and then 5 minor, 4, and then here we play an F chord, which is a flat 3, and then we play a C, which is a flat 7. So we're already like altering, we're going outside of the key essentially here. And that's a huge, you could argue that it is a huge rule that's being broken, but man, would you change any of that? I certainly wouldn't. I mean, that's just one example of so many legendary, iconic songs that just relentlessly break the rules in music theory, and still they are legendary, iconic songs. Let me just show you one more time what's happening here. I mean, we have 1/7, 6 minor, 5, right within the rules, and then 5 minor, breaks the rules, 4, that's within the rules, and then flat 3, breaks the rules, flat 7, and then to actually like restart the whole tonality, you have this power chord thing, which is starting on 4, so G power chord, and then back to C, which is flat 7, and then 5, back to 1. So it like starts normal, gets a little weird, and then just brings it right back, and then just repeats. It just invites you to just feel something different. This is a very emotional song, and I think a lot of that is driven by those particular choices in the chords. You know, I mean, it's David Bowie after all. The guy's a genius. So a big takeaway from that is you're allowed to break the rules as long as you make it sound great. And if you're enjoying this kind of deep dive that we're doing into this song, this is just a little taste of what we get into in the Guitar Mastery Method VIP Club. Our members truly love guitar and they love music, and they're always asking, you know, what's the theory behind this song, or how do you think this song came about? And it's a lot of fun to just really take a look at each of these, analyze them from where we're sitting, so the songs can show us how to become better players rather than just learning the song note for note and parroting it. So I recommend you check out our VIP Club. It's the best guitar community on the planet, full stop. And what's waiting for you inside the VIP Club could very well be the change that you've been looking for. So as guitar players, never underestimate the power of a well-written song. And All the Young Dudes is a rite of passage, and it's also a toolkit. So learn it, internalize it, steal from it. And speaking of stealing, let me share with you something that I would love for you to steal from us right now. This is a guide on how to instantly solo in any key. It's going to show you how to identify every key in music and how to solo in it, whether it's major or minor. And it's 100% yours, 100% free, which I guess isn't technically stealing, but I still want you to have it. So just be sure to click here to claim your free copy, or if you're watching on TV, scan that QR code or check the link in the description box that I left for you. I'm Eddie with Guitar Mastery Method, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.